Hey everybody, now I know what you're all thinking. It's October. What does this movie have to do with Halloween? It doesn't. What? I can't review regular movies in October too? Though, I guess in fairness, this movie does involve a guy in a costume, so I guess that's good enough. I don't know. Yeah, today's review is on Death to Smoochy. So the plot of this movie is this children's show host named Rainbow Randolph, played by Robin Williams, is very successful. He's a very successful kid show host, and he's on a lot of merchandise. He's on pretty much everything. He brings joy to millions of children around the world. But they he then gets exposed for what happens behind the scenes, that he accepts bribe money from parents because they keep bribing him to let their kids be on his show, and he gets caught in the act, and all the network producers fire him, and his show gets canceled, and he's replaced with this guy named Sheldon Mopes, played by Edward Norton, and with his own character Smoochy the Rhino, who's a giant pinkish purple rhinoceros who may or may not look conspicuously like Barney the dinosaur. And Rainbow Randolph is really peeved and annoyed that Smoochy is taking his place, and he's the new character that kids love. So he decides to sabotage Sheldon, and everything, all his hopes and dreams of bringing joy to children are shattered. And he tries to sabotage his act and cause a bunch of controversy around him and hopefully get his show canceled, while Sheldon also develops a romantic relationship with a TV producer played by Catherine Keener. And the whole thing is Sheldon and Randolph have a big clash to see who can get their show on the air and who will survive the whole controversy. Honestly, this was a pretty underrated movie in my opinion. I thought it was quite funny. This is one Robin Williams movie that either a lot of people don't really bring up. Well, I guess some people bring up when a lot of people consider it one of his worst movies. And I mean, to be fair, it's not really a film for everyone. I feel this movie to Robin Williams is what The Cable Guy was to Jim Carrey. This is pretty much a black comedy. So it's definitely a departure from Robin Williams' traditional type of comedy films. Because, like Jim Carrey, Robin Williams always plays, the likable, quirky, but still, kind hearted, gentle guy. But here, okay, it's not like The Cable Guy where he's like, okay, I guess he is arguably he is objectively crazy, but he's not like psychotic. He's not like a super villain. But like the whole thing is that he's so fixated on his show getting canceled and the fact that he's no longer allowed to be on TV, and he really hates that his job is that his job's on the line and he's probably going to be out of business. And he even is on the street a few times in the movie, and he seems pretty homeless, so that, which I think is pretty funny. And the whole thing is that Edward Norton's just the total opposite of Rainbow Randolph. He actually cares more about children, and the whole thing is that he's not focused on commercialism, unlike Rainbow Randolph, who's all about, the fame and fortune. Sheldon, he's more about Smoochy is supposed to be a good message about bringing happiness to children and eating vegetables, and I don't want to be focused on, consumerism and marketing and all of that. And like, yeah, I guess I know it's pretty cliche commentary on children's entertainment when it comes to like even marketing and consumerism and stuff. But to be fair, it is done in a really good way because the two leads are total polar opposites. And Edward Norton actually is quite funny in this. I know he has been in a few comedies, I know, but Edward Norton, he usually does drama films, I feel, and maybe a little bit of action movies, but I feel he should do more comedies. I actually like his style. He's kind of got a good, really dry sense of humor, and like a really kind of I'm my own man kind of attitude in this. Like he's basically a guy who's like the total opposite of like what you'd expect a kid show host or a television employee or whatever, someone in the television business would do. And like, yeah, it's pretty typical. Like it's a very predictable type of character you'd see in a movie like this that's satirizing children's entertainment behind the scenes. But in all fairness, he does it very well, and the interactions he has with Robin Williams are really good, even though they don't have like a lot of dialogue on screen, although they do have some, but it's real, but a lot, most of it's because of the conflict. And there's not really like physical comedy, a lot of it, like it's not one of those kinds of films where like Robin's trying to where Randolph's trying to sabotage Sheldon. Like it's not like slapsticky type thing. Like lots of the ways he like really tries to make his show more offensive and really obscene, and it's honestly really funny. Like there's a part where like he's trying to like where like even though he's trying to get the kids to eat healthier, he someone Randolph like brings him cookies, and they're shaped like genitalia. And like I know like it's pretty obvious for like a movie like this to have sex jokes because that's always a thing in comedies, but like Edward Norton does sell it in a way where he really tries to make the most of it, and he's honestly really good with this type of humor where he has to just go with the flow. He's not like over exaggerating and trying to emphasize every joke. Like ironically, that's what Robin Williams is. So I think Robin and Edward, they made a really good duo. I think their contrasting acting personalities really made for a good comedy duo. Catherine Keener is fun in the movie. I think she's mostly with Edward Norton because obviously Robin Williams' character in this movie is mostly kind of on his own, and he's trying to get his show back desperately, like I want my show back and whatever, and he's on the streets. But Edward Norton and Catherine Keener, their whole romantic chemistry, it's fine. Like, I mean, it is kind of mildly amusing. I don't think like it's the most interesting part of the movie, but it's fine, I guess. It does kind of give Edward Norton a bit more of a character than just a polar opposite kid show host. Like it does trying to make it feel like he's trying to get the girl, and he actually, and he wants to care more about the children and the industry. He doesn't really care about the fame. He's just happy with what he gets. And even though like that's not the romance subplot isn't the most interesting, like it's still done fine. Edward Norton and Catherine Keener, they give quite good performances. They're not terrible. They're just it's not the most interesting part of the film compared to Robin. And Danny DeVito actually directed this movie, and he is in the movie. He doesn't have. I mean, he kind of has a fairly big part, but he's not as much as the two leads. And Danny DeVito's a funny guy, so I get why he would want to do a film like this. Like, it's very goofy and pretty much a satire of what goes on behind the scenes, which, like, is a topic, like, most people probably wouldn't joke. Actually, given that Nickelodeon documentary that came out last year, maybe the humor in this movie actually hits a little too close to home. Maybe this movie's aged better than we give it credit for. But even if you take that out of the question, it's still a fun film. It's really funny. It's a different kind of film for Robin Williams where he plays, a more crazy antagonistic role. And I guess that's why a lot of people didn't like this because they didn't like seeing Robin Williams in a less likable performance. But I gave him credit for at least trying because I think that's the one thing about Robin Williams that I love. The main thing I love him is not just like his improv, but he was a character actor. Like he was very good, doing all kinds of voices. He was good at, throwing himself in a performance. Like he wanted to be a character. He didn't want to be himself. And yeah, you do kind of get typical like Robin Williams, like exaggerated, very animated performance in this. You get one of those, but even that aside, like I think he did well with a different kind of role. And I guess like it's a black comedy. Obviously, it's not going to be for everyone because it's one of those movies like I feel every comedy actor has to do. But I think it's a lot of fun. I know it wasn't a hit with critics or audiences. It wasn't even a financial hit, but I think it's better than people give credit for. It's not an amazing movie. It's not like one of the great comedies, but honestly, it's worth watching if you haven't seen it. I think even if the humor's not for you, like I understand, but me, I thought it was fun for a different kind of Robin Williams role, and it really goes to show that he was a very versatile actor, and he really tried and had fun no matter what he was given, and it's very clear with this, and with an actor like Edward Norton, who surprisingly does have a lot of good comedic timing, more than you'd expect. I think they're a good duo. I think that alone makes the movie worth watching. So, if the film's not for you, I get it. But me, I think it's pretty funny. I actually quite enjoyed it a lot, so take care, everybody.